Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the greatest betrayal in hip-hop history didn't happen in the studio, but in a hotel room nobody was supposed to know about? Eyes wide. Because just when you thought the Remy Ma, Papoose, and Fat Joe saga couldn't get messier, boom, leaked footage from a long-forgotten hotel in Miami just surfaced. And it's not looking good for Remy. We're talking dimly lit hallway cameras, two familiar figures slipping past the lobby at 2:17 a.m., and a check-in receipt with the name Joseph Cartagena, aka Fat Joe, signed next to reminisce Mackie. Coincidence? Or the kind of love affair hip-hop buried under Grammys and gold chains? And here's the real twist. The footage didn't come from a hacker. It came from Papoose himself. Yep, word on the street is, he found it while clearing out old emails on an iPad Remy swore was just for music. So, how long did this affair go on? Was it before the wedding, or during? And why has no one ever spoken about this? Until now, strap in. Because what we're about to uncover might just change how you see the entire Terror Squad legacy forever. Let's rewind the tape. Not the shiny Grammy speeches. Not the Instagram birthday tributes. I'm talking about the real story. The stuff that never made it to interviews. The stuff they didn't want us to piece together. We all know Remy Ma and Fat Joe go way back, like Bronx Street Battles and Terror Squad basement sessions. The industry called them brother and sister. But behind the scenes, according to a source close to the crew, that sibling bond was always just the PR version of the truth. Let's not forget, Remy Ma wasn't some random rapper climbing the ranks. She was Big Pun's protege, handpicked and blessed. But when Pun tragically passed in 2000, it was Fat Joe who stepped in, like a knight in oversized denim, offering studio access, protection, and allegedly, something far more personal. Their first real spark? Summer Jam 2002. According to an old security guard who worked backstage, Joe never left her side. I thought they were married the way he was acting. But here's the kicker. At the time, Remy was quietly dating someone else. Not Papoose yet. Still, her loyalty to Joe? That was undeniable. People in the camp described it as closer than close. By 2004, Lean Back hit the charts, and the industry went wild. But behind that anthem was tension. Creative tension, sure, but also jealousy, secrecy, and late-night studio sessions that didn't end with just music. Multiple insiders from Terror Squad now claim Remy and Joe had undeniable chemistry off the mic. One anonymous engineer said, there were nights they'd go in the booth and come out holding hands. Like we saw it. But they always shut it down if anyone brought it up. And yet, no one could speak out. Why? Because Fat Joe was the boss. And Remy? She was loyal. Ride or die. Until things changed. Fast forward to 2007, Remy Ma gets arrested and later sentenced to 8 years in prison. Everyone expected Papoose to stand by her. And he did. But here's what the media missed, while the cameras focused on Pap outside the courtroom. Fat Joe was visiting Remy quietly. No photos. No statements. Just visits. According to leaked visitor logs from Rikers Island. And yes, we got our hands on those. Joseph Cartagena signed in 5 times between 2008 and 2009, all under coded aliases. And the dates? They line up with major moments in Remy's life, especially the one right before she was transferred to Bedford Hills Correctional. What was Joe really doing there? One former prison staffer says, he was calm but intense, like he had something to get off his chest. Every visit looked emotional. Meanwhile, Papoose was publicly writing letters, giving interviews, repping her name like a badge of honor. But if the jail logs are real, and from what we've seen, they're legit, Fat Joe was the one putting in those quiet, off-the-record visits. So now the question becomes, was there something going on in that prison that even Papoose didn't know about? Remy herself once slipped up during a post-release interview. When asked who she missed most in prison, she said, some people surprised me with how much they cared. That's it. No names. Just that look. And the host didn't dare press her further. And now, years later, Papoose stumbles across an old iPad during spring cleaning, the same device Remy used during her early parole days to write lyrics and journal her thoughts. But apparently, one file was never deleted. File name, 7th floor, Miami. Timestamp, April 3rd, 2011. Location, Fontainebleau Hotel, Miami Beach. According to an anonymous tech expert who reviewed the metadata, the footage was captured from a hotel hallway camera and shows Fat Joe walking in first, followed by Remy Ma just seconds later. No entourage, no makeup crew, no stylists, just them. And from what the leak says, they didn't come back out till morning. The source close to Papoose says he was visibly shaken after watching the file. Apparently, he didn't confront Remy directly. Not yet. Instead, he reached out to one person he thought could give him real answers. A name we'll reveal in the next part. Because trust me, this rabbit hole is just beginning to open. And what we're about to dig up next might just destroy everything you thought you knew about Remy Ma and Fat Joe. When Pap saw that 7th floor, Miami clip, the heir reportedly left the room. The man who held Remy Ma down, through trial, through prison, through public humiliation, now staring at footage of her walking into a hotel suite behind Fat Joe. That's not just heartbreak. That's betrayal wrapped in silence. But did he explode?
Nah.
That's not Papoose's style. He's not the type to throw hands first. He throws bars. He asks questions. He listens. And then moves with purpose. And that's exactly what he did. Sources say he didn't even mention the footage to Remy. Not at first. Instead, he started quietly making calls to people who'd been around back then, tour managers, studio engineers, personal assistants. And then he called her. The one person who was there for both Fat Joe and Remy Ma during those crucial Terror Squad years, and who's no stranger to stirring the pot. Remy's former stylist, who allegedly left the camp in 2012 under mysterious circumstances. Her name? We're not dropping it for safety, but what she said. Oh, she sang like a bird. Joe was obsessed, she told Papoose, according to someone who heard the convo. It was never just music. I saw the way he looked at her, how protective he got. He used to cancel sessions if she wasn't there. She made him feel relevant again. She even claimed there were rumors of a situation in Puerto Rico where the crew had flown out for a show in 2006. Allegedly, Remy and Joe were spotted on a private yacht, long after the rest of the team had gone back to the hotel. Now here's the twist. When Papoose confronted Fat Joe privately, yes, that happened. Joe didn't deny knowing about the hotel. He didn't even flinch. All he said was, "It ain't what you think, Pap. But you don't want to go down that road." Excuse me? That's like saying, "Yeah, I buried the body, but trust me, he had it coming." What does that even mean? So, what does Papoose do next? According to insiders, he goes full detective mode. He digs through old emails, old DMs, even burner accounts. And what he finds? Chilling. He discovers an email from 2011 addressed to a private Gmail under Remy's nickname at the time. It reads, "Miami was different. We can't keep playing like this didn't happen. You know I'd do anything for you. J, not signed Joe." Not signed Fat Joe. Just J. But guess what? The email header metadata traces back to an IP address in the Bronx, tied to an office studio leased under Terror Squad Entertainment. Still want to tell me it's not Joe? Meanwhile, the streets start talking. Not blogs, the streets. Because you know, when Bronx whispers start getting loud, the truth ain't far behind. One underground podcast even dropped a blind item describing a platinum-selling NYC rapper whose long-term loyalty was tested by a queen with too many kings.
Gee.
Wonder who that could be. And fans? Oh, they didn't stay quiet. Once rumors about the footage leaked on Twitter, thanks to a since-deleted tweet from someone claiming to be in the circle, hashtags like #Joe and Remy, #Pap deserves better, started trending. Screenshots flooded Reddit. Fan forums speculated if Papoose had left their shared home. Spoiler, he didn't. But insiders say he moved into the guest house for a while, just to think. Meanwhile, Remy? Still publicly silent. Still posting selfies, studio clips, motivational quotes like, "Real love stands the test of time. I so realist." And Fat Joe? Not a peep. Not even a cryptic IG live. That's how you know it's serious. Joe always talks. But what happened next turned this entire scandal from messy to historical. One fan unearthed an old Terror Squad DVD interview from 2005, grainy footage, low audio, but clear as day. Joe's sitting with Remy during a behind-the-scenes segment. At one point, he leans in and says, "I'll ride for her till the wheels fall off. That's my heart." At the time, people thought it was just brotherly love. But now, with everything that's surfacing, that line hits different. Papoose is a man of dignity, of silence. But this time, silence is hurting him more than speaking ever could. So, according to a source very close to the situation, Papoose reached out to an old journalist friend, someone who covered Remy's court case back in the day. He didn't ask for a headline. He didn't ask for press. He asked for clarity. If I send you something, you think the world's ready for it? That something? It just might be the full footage. Not just the hotel hallway clip, but what happened after. Because the original file found on that iPad, that was just part 1. And the next file? Room_714_fold brace yourself. So here we are. The file that shouldn't exist does. And it's got a name that raises every red flag you can imagine. Room_714_full, the same file that allegedly turned Papoose's heart to stone. No yelling, no screaming, just silence. And when a man like Papoose goes silent, it's because the pain hit bone deep. According to a source extremely close to the situation, the footage starts 4 minutes after Remy and Fat Joe enter the hotel suite. There's no music, no party sounds, just a dim light from the hallway camera, a room service tray, untouched, and voices, low but clear. At first, it's just mumbles, like tension between two people trying not to make a mistake. Then the audio sharpens. Joe's voice comes through first. "You know what this is?" And Remy? She answers, "It was never supposed to go this far." Those 10 words changed everything. Because if there was ever doubt, if there was ever a gray area, that line made it black and white. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't just business. It was something real and hidden for a long time. That was the moment, allegedly, when Papoose hit pause on the iPad, stood up, walked out of the room, and didn't come back for hours. And when he didn't say a word. But the world around him had already begun to move, because someone, and no one knows who, had already leaked the knowledge that Papoose saw the video. 5 little words. That's all it took to start the avalanche. Within a day, hip-hop media started buzzing. Radio hosts hinted at it without saying names. Bloggers danced around the edges, saying, a power couple might be in trouble, and a legendary Bronx figure might be at the center. Fat Joe's team reportedly went into full lockdown mode, issuing takedowns, calling platforms, pulling clips before they even hit 1,000 views. Someone somewhere was doing damage control fast. Meanwhile, Remy's social media changed overnight. The Black Love post stopped. Studio updates vanished. She deleted her recent story post and replaced it with one word: sorry. No explanation. No hashtags. Just that. And Papoose? The last post on his account remains untouched. The caption reads, "Loyalty is only real when it's tested." No tags, no location, and no sign of Remy anywhere on the page. As the dust settled, fans began uncovering old interviews. One clip from 2005 showed Joe sitting next to Remy, staring at her as he said, "I'll ride for her till the wheels fall off. That's my heart." At the time, it was sweet. But now, through the lens of everything that's leaked, that line feels loaded. It didn't stop there. A podcast episode from nearly a decade ago resurfaced. In it, a then tipsy Fat Joe joked, if Remy ever left Papoose, she'd come home, where she belongs. The audience laughed. Everyone called it banter. But now, that joke feels more like a confession nobody paid attention to. And then came the real twist. According to an anonymous producer, the full footage wasn't just on the iPad. Papoose had a copy backed up. And someone, again, no names, sent that copy to a private Dropbox connected to a known documentary house. That's right, A docuseries is already rumored to be in development.
For parts.
Working title: Remy and Joe, the real story. This isn't a blog post anymore. This is turning into streaming content, the kind that lives forever. Industry insiders are already panicking. A rep from a major brand, who had been in talks with Remy for a hair care line, reportedly pulled the deal. Another PR firm distanced itself from Fat Joe's upcoming concert tour. Behind closed doors, teams are scrubbing the internet, consulting lawyers, and issuing blanket NDAs to anyone even remotely involved. But this wasn't just about business. This was about legacy. And that legacy?
Shaken.
Remy Ma was supposed to be the comeback queen, the warrior who beat the system, rose again, and stood tall beside her king. Fat Joe was the unshakable Bronx general, the one who helped build and rebuild careers. And Papoose? He wasn't just a rapper. He was an icon of loyalty, the man who married Remy while she was in prison, the man who waited, the man who forgave.
Now,
all of that is stained. Their story was a fairy tale in a genre full of heartbreak. And now, it's just another cautionary tale. There are reports that Papoose has moved into a new apartment in Midtown. He's been spotted at open mic nights, no ring, no entourage, just him and a notebook. Remy hasn't made a statement. Joe hasn't either. But insiders say he's planning a live session soon. And if that happens, the numbers are going to explode. But the question now isn't just, did it happen? The question is, how long has everyone known? Because if the footage was on an old iPad, if there were emails from over a decade ago, if insiders had been whispering about the Puerto Rico yacht night since 2006, then this wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a long-standing secret with a long list of people who helped keep it quiet. And that, more than anything else, is what's breaking fans' hearts. This wasn't just a betrayal of one man. It was a betrayal of every fan who believed in what they stood for. Every woman who said, "I want to love like Remy and Pap." Every artist who looked up to Fat Joe as the model for mentorship and loyalty. Every person who thought, maybe, just maybe, real ones still exist. Because when a hotel footage file called Room 714 surfaces, the silence that follows. It's never innocent. It's orchestrated. It's protected.
And it's dangerous.
What happens now? That's up to them. But the world has seen enough to know. This isn't the end of the story. Not even close. And now the question that haunts everything we've just uncovered. Was it ever real? Was black love just a front? Was Fat Joe always more than a mentor? And has Remy Ma been living a double life all along? Protected by silence, loyalty, and the myth of family? Because when the footage leaks, when the files are backed up, when the DMs trace back to Terror Squad IPs, it's no longer rumor, it's revelation. But the story isn't over. Not even close. Fat Joe still hasn't spoken. Remy's apology post vanished. And Papoose? He's sitting with a silence so loud, the whole internet can hear it. So now we turn to you. Do you believe this was just a one-time mistake? Or has this been years in the making? Was Papoose truly blindsided? Or did he know all along and choose to protect Remy's image? And if this docuseries really drops, what else is hidden in the footage they haven't shown yet? Drop your theories in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this rabbit hole is deep, and trust me, we've only just scratched the surface. The next leak might be days away. Be ready.